Hey guys, what is going on? Today I have a special guest, as I'm sure some of you have already guessed. It's Yummy R6 is here with me today, and we are going to be asking him some questions. You guys have to remember, it's been 11 and a half years since I have been through the academy, so a lot has changed since then.
He's old.
Yeah, I am, and I don't remember a lot of my first experiences as a cop, so I figured I would bring Yummy on with me today so he can share some of his experiences. How long have you been on the road now?
What was today? Like June something, right? July something.
July.
Yeah, dates and stuff.
I
won't. Not
it's 2019.
I promise this is water. Not quite a month. Not quite a month, but coming up on a month.
Okay, so what we're going to be doing, guys, this is short term. Like, this was spur of the moment, so I'm not going to be showing screenshots of the questions. I didn't have enough time to prepare. We just came up with this idea like an hour ago.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be reading questions. I put something up on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook for you guys to ask a rookie officer. So I'm going to go down the line. I'll read your names, but I am not going to post the screenshots. So first question is from a sad Hawks fan. What does your family think about you being a police officer?
Well, I'll start with my parents. I come from a very, military background. My dad was in the military. My older brother's in the military. Well, my little sister now is a firefighter. Both my grandparents were in the military, and one of them was a police officer. So honestly, it wasn't really much of a surprise because they've known I've always been into law enforcement and that type of stuff. But I don't know. My mom was, of course, worried just like any other mom would be. You could come from a law enforcement family. Your mom's still going to worry, just going to keep worrying because it's your mom.
Yeah.
But it really wasn't a surprise, honestly. Like, it might be for other, families that don't have any service in it at all. It might come as a surprise, but I guess I'll go down to the Amber level, my girlfriend. I guess that wasn't really a surprise either because I talked to her about everything before I did it, but she worries as well, but no.
I know she's been real supportive too.
Absolutely.
Next question, what is your biggest fear at the moment?
Ooh.
What's your biggest on-duty fear? I mean, I guess the obvious would be getting shot, but what's the first thing that comes to mind when you hear the word fear?
Letting someone down. I think that's probably absolutely. My biggest fear, without a doubt, is being needed and letting someone down. I think that's 100% my biggest fear. Obviously, like he said, getting shot, no one wants to get shot. Obviously, everyone fears that, but for sure, for me, is letting someone down. I never want to let anyone down. That's probably my biggest fear with on duty and off duty, all around, is letting people down. So.
And you know that's going to happen eventually. I mean, that's just kind of the nature of the beast. You can't be everywhere at once.
And I think that's why I fear it so much, because I know it's going to happen, and I don't want it to happen, but I know it's going to happen because it's just inevitable. But at the end of the day, absolutely, I don't want to let anyone down. That lighting is amazing. I need to get one of those fucking things, man.
Next question from 40 Hildago 44 on Instagram. What is the most embarrassing moment in the academy?
Oh man,
I want to hear this one.
I think I've told you this one, but I don't know how much detail I went into. By far, for me, the most embarrassing thing in the academy, when we were sitting in class, and I don't remember what we were learning. But I'm a pretty outgoing person in class as well as, in real life. Pretty sure everyone knows that. But in class, I try to answer as much as I can. Try to be interactive because I hate sitting in a class when no one raises their hand. It drives me nuts because it just goes quiet and it's really awkward.
He really likes to be the teacher's pet.
No,
that's what it is.
No, that was not me. I can point to another person there. No, that's a story for another time. But there was a question I answered. No, it was a question I didn't answer, and no one raised their hand because I actually didn't know it. And he looked at me and said something about, well, why don't the famous guy tell me, the guy with hundreds of thousands of followers on YouTube? And my face, I swear, if you guys ever seen the commercials or the cartoons, when the body goes red from the bottom, my entire face is ding, and it was completely red. And one of the lieutenants and instructors were sitting behind me, and he goes, "Why are you getting all red there, Yummy?" And he said, "Unless that's what you want me to call you." Yeah, it was.
And he called me about this. He called me about it. Was it that same? I think it was that same day. And you're like, "I've been discovered."
Dude, I had to stand up and answer this question, and everybody's looking at me because some people.
How far into the academy was this?
Dude, this was week 7. This is more than halfway.
Oh, okay. So at least it wasn't the first week.
No, it wasn't the first week. And a lot of people already knew about YouTube. I would say out of my class, about 5 or 6 people knew. But then when he said that, everyone looked at me like, kind of like, what? Like, what's going on here? And then he kept going with it, and I felt like super embarrassed because I didn't even know they knew. And the lieutenant like used it as his example. He was like, this is a good thing to realize that we know more about you guys than you'll ever know. And I was like, note taken.
Because we're not all over Google or anything. Like, all you have to do is type in our usernames, and like all our information is out there.
Yeah, that's definitely the most embarrassing thing in the academy for me.
Next question, this is a good one from Sean Kuhn 7314. Is it easier to start day shift or night shift, or do you not get an option? Let's kind of bring that over into which do you prefer more and why. Have you worked night shift yet?
I have not.
Oh, okay.
I haven't had the experience to do night shift, but I mean, I feel like that's an easy answer for the first question you asked. Which one's easier to start? I mean, it would be day shift, because unless you come from another job, you're doing night shift. Doing a day shift type thing, working during the day, is pretty normal for all of us, except for that small percentage that does work, like overnight stalking or police work and stuff like that. So I think the easiest one to start, I mean, I would feel like that would be day shift, because most people work during the day before they become a police officer. So, and
see, our hours are 6 to 6. So whenever you get up for day shift, like what time do you get up?
I try to get up around 4:45.
Damn, that late?
Yeah.
I usually get up at like 4:15.
Damn.
So we work we either work from 6A to 6P or 6P to 6A, depending. So like for me, I'll get up. Well, now like I'm running every other day, so I try to get up at like 3 on those days to give me some time allotment to run. But on the days that I'm not running, I'll usually get up at like 4:15. See, I like to take my time. When I get ready, I like to take my time. I don't like to be rushed. So yeah, you know what? It might take me 30 minutes to shave my face. Leave me alone. Like maybe I want that time to wake up. No, we don't have an option.
Yeah.
We rotate every 2 months. Every department's different. Some departments, I've heard of departments that rotate every 28 days.
That's
like
ridiculous,
not.
dude.
Well, you say 28 working days. It kind of works out to 2 months.
Never mind.
But there's one department that around here that rotates every month.
That's crazy.
I wouldn't be able to.
You would never be able to get set.
Yeah, because by the time your body gets used to night shift, you're having to switch back to day shift.
And I think you asked, I think in the question, didn't ask what's preferred. What do you prefer to do, night or day?
It says what's easier to start, day shift or night shift, or do you not get an option?
Okay, cool.
Next question from Jediah White on Instagram. How careful do you have to be when keeping your identity as a cop hidden when out and about? Obviously online you don't hide it, but with the random interactions day to day, how much do you worry about the current media anti-cop trends?
I'm going to answer that last question before I get into the first. The whole anti-cop media thing, even if I cared about it, there's nothing I can do about it. Yeah. So honestly, to answer that last question first, I mean, it is what it is. There's nothing, I mean, of course we can try to do things to change the way people perceive police officers, but at the end of the day, we can only do so much. So at the end of the day, every single person you pull over or every single person you help, they're not going to know about your YouTube channel, so they're not going to care. So for that, there's not really anything we can do. But as far as like getting noticed, if I have a fear for it, I don't have a fear for it. I really don't. Actually, I've been noticed in uniform already, and that was on
Were you really?
July 4th.
No shit.
Yeah, right in front of 2 other higher up people in the department. So that was real interesting. I'm not worried about it per se.
He's trying to hide it more than me, just being new and like still being on probation.
Yeah,
sure.
I don't. I'm really not worried about someone seeing me, because like I really don't mean to sound like a dick, and I've said this on my channel and my stuff. I really don't mean to sound like a dick, but in person, if I'm somewhere that I need to be in for importance, for police reasons, I'm not going to cater to someone that's like, oh my God, are you Yummy R6, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to be probably a stone-faced ass. Like, I mean, that's just how it's
You have to be unbiased.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I've made it very clear with my people over on my channel that YouTube for me is secondary right now. Policing is first. It's something I've wanted to get into. So when it comes to getting noticed, I'm not worried about it, because it is what it is. At the end of the day, you could be a fan for 6 years and not know me at all. I'm going to treat you the same. And a lot of people will be like, wow, that's pretty dickish. But no, I mean, it's my job. I can't treat you better because you've been a fan for so long. So I'm not really worried about it. I'm going to go into every situation the same.
What do you call your followers? Are they like Yummians? Are they?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
That's on the key.
Dude, that's like white girl basic. I just guessed that off the top of my head.
It says a girl that doesn't season his food.
Damn. Don't make fun of my chicken, bitch. It was organic. I wanted to savor the flavor.
Organic.
All right, so a question I have for Yummy.
Oh, boy.
Because I want to see how much it's changed in the last over a decade. How would you best, because people ask me this all the time, how should I get ready for the academy? Let's start, and really there's only one way to get ready for the academy, and that's physically. How would you recommend somebody get ready for the police academy? Now again, guys, every agency, every academy, it's all different. The criteria for every agency is different. Even in Georgia, like our department, the requirements are different than like state patrol, per se. So can you give like a general blanket, good run time, good push up, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so what I like what you said in the beginning is getting ready for the academy, and he said physical. And he didn't mention academic, because I'm going to talk about that in a second. But as far as physical goes, my number one recommendation is do not run on a treadmill. Don't do it.
Really?
You don't run on a treadmill. Because you're not going to run on a treadmill when you're in the academy.
True.
Your times are going to differ tremendously from a treadmill to actually running it.
Did you have somebody that did that?
I had myself that did that.
Oh, no shit.
Absolutely.
You never told me that.
I used to run on the treadmill at my house. I used to run on it.
Oh.
And my times were better on the treadmill because thinking about it. You have a belt that's going, and that's how it's keeping track of how long you've run, and it's not changing its pace. But if you hop up a little slower and do it a little, if you hop up high, that belt keeps going no matter what. So I don't recommend running on treadmill. Get out there, start running on grades, go downhill, uphill, start running a track. That's actually a really good recommendation. It's like, you know what I'm talking about, like an outdoor track type thing. Run those. Those are really good to run as far as running. Push-ups, sit-ups, self-explanatory. Do them. I would say a really good number, if you could do it, is 50 on both. If you can do 50 on both, you're giving yourself a good buffer.
Yeah, you'll pass most academies.
Absolutely, you'll pass most academies. But a lot of academies want to see improvement too. So no matter what your number is, if it's 50, if it's 100, if it's 150, by the end of the academy, if you go in at 150, they want to see 200. You're not going to get away with just doing 150. They want to see that you've been pushed, that you can go farther. And the thing I want to talk about, like I said in the beginning, he mentioned physical, getting ready for the academy. I know this is going to sound really weird, and it sounded really weird for me before I went in the academy. Don't study things before you go to the academy. Let them teach you what you need to know. Because the way they taught us, I understood so much better than if I sat here and tried to teach myself. I know I speak from experience because I was this way. I was like gung-ho and like, I want to read how to do this. Don't do it.
You're basically telling my viewers not to watch any of my case law
That's not
videos.
what I'm saying. But I'm saying like...
Ignore the hiring process. Just go with it.
No, the hiring process is important.
Don't even wear a tie.
Oh God, don't do that. What I'm saying is like, don't overstress yourself like you have to have a criminal justice degree before you go to the academy. Because everything that you learn in that criminal justice, you're going to learn over again, but in a better way because it's going to be from a police officer's perspective. Because isn't it when you get a CJ degree, you learn from just regular instructors. So they can't really apply it.
Yeah, most of them are just college professors, but a lot of the college professors are officers that come in to...
And that's the best way to learn it, is to get it from an actual officer, because they can tell you not only what it is, but how it's been applied in their life in that situation. So, but yeah,
because cops are good about taking the criminal justice stuff and applying it to real world situations where, just a college professor that's never been in this line of work,
he's got a book,
is all by the book.
Yep.
So that's the good thing about cop teaching, is they can tell you this is why this is important. This is why this doesn't matter as much, but this one is really important. So
absolutely, just
food for thought. At what point do you start to feel comfortable in taking command of a situation? Have you really had to do that yet? Have you shown up to a fight where there's like 20 people out there and you're having to separate them and keep them from talking over you?
No. Give me more specific taking command, because there's been some instances where maybe I've talked first type of thing. Like, do you mean just like going in a situation as like...
Yeah, like showing up and...
Or you mean like command presence? Like,
no, like you have to take charge of the situation. Like shit's getting out of hand. You show up. You shut the fuck up. You come over here. You know what I mean? Like you have to take charge of that situation.
Nothing like that yet.
Okay.
Not. There's been a couple close things like that, but right now, well, you guys will figure out if you do go into FTO. In the early parts, you're observing a lot.
Yeah.
You're trying to see how your FTO and other officers do things. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm kind of in between that zone and doing that. Like, there is some things where I'll say something that is command presence like, but I haven't got to the point where I, like, you shut up. You need to stop right now, like, type of thing. But right now, I'm still in the stage
It'll come.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm still in the stage where I'm seeing how these situations are handled, because it's a lot easier said than done, rolling up and tell someone shut up. But there's...
Because you're not used to that.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're not used to that.
It is... Like, you feel bad. Like, when I see it, I'm like, dude, he just told him, oh, shit.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you're like, wait, I'm a cop. I'm supposed to do that. But no, I haven't had anything serious like that yet. Nope.
Next question is from Harmony. What has been the hardest part of starting your career? What's your best advice for somebody wanting to get into law enforcement?
I don't want to say, like, having a boss again, because I haven't had that
I forgot about
in
that.
like 6.5 years, because it really hasn't been that hard. But
That's something we were talking about actually the other day on shift.
Really?
Oh, yeah, I was talking about you. I was like, I wonder how he's adapting to like having to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and like having a regular, consistent schedule.
You know what? You know what? Actually, I do have an answer to that. And it's the hardest thing about getting into policing. And I know this is like an answer from my perspective, so this is going to apply to a lot of you guys. But it's getting away from YouTube. I'm not getting away from YouTube. Don't take that wrong. But what I'm saying is,
Hear that, yumyans?
I'm saying that meaning like shifting my life in having to fight with people that don't understand I'm doing this for me and I'm not doing this for YouTube.
Yeah, you've had a lot of people on
I've
your
had
channel
a lot
that
of
complain
hate.
about
I've
it.
had a lot of hate that I'm shifting to doing something for myself for once.
People don't like change.
No,
And
they don't
you've
like
been doing
change.
the same thing for a long time, and they hate it.
And a lot of things in my channel for the people that have been there for a long time, I did a lot of the things, sure, yeah, a little bit for myself, but a lot of it was for my fans. Like, I'm going to do this because I know they're going to like it. I'm going to buy this because I know they're going to like it. I'm going to go to this event because I know they're going to want to see it from my perspective. It's
become such a part of your life
Yes.
that everything you do revolves
This
around
has
YouTube.
been the first thing that I've done for, obviously everyone knows my name is Zach, but this has been the first thing I've done for Zach. This has been like just for me. And I think the hardest thing for that is dealing with the response. Because it's been a bad response, like he was saying. I mean, there's been a lot of people that just freaked out. Because
Just out of curiosity, what would you say the ratio is?
the people that freaked out,
Yeah.
like, for every 10, I'd say 2 or 3.
Really?
Almost
that
a
much?
third.
Like
Almost a third.
20 or 30%? No
Yes,
shit.
100%.
Wow, dude, I didn't think it'd be that much.
But then there's that other 70% is why I continue to do what I do.
Because they're supportive.
Because that's the only amount that matters. No one else matters. But
And we knew this getting into YouTube and stuff. You're never gonna please everybody.
Hell no.
You know, I'm sure somebody's gonna dislike this video within like the first minute of watching it, just because they're only subscribed just to do that. Like, it has some sort of effect on my video.
Haters
but-
are the biggest fans.
Yeah.
It's
So-
sad. What was the second question that she had?
What's your best advice for someone wanting to get into law enforcement?
Do ride-alongs.
Yeah.
Do ride-alongs. I know some departments have, what the hell is that thing called? Explorers.
Explorer
No matter how old you are, some departments have Explorer programs. If you're like 14, 15,
You're going to start getting a lot of Explorer, because a lot of Explorers reach out to me. And
yeah, get into an Explorer program, man. That's like awesome. And then as soon as you're allowed to, can a minor do a ride along with like a parent consent?
Yeah, well, I don't know if they still can.
have
Like
no idea.
when I was 16, my mom actually had to sign a waiver for me to go do it.
If you can do ride-alongs,
So-
do this. Honestly, ride-alongs. Because you're going to get the most experience from law enforcement when you're on that ride-along, and you get to talk to a police officer.
But with that in mind, guys,
Oh, God.
there are a lot of officers that don't like people riding with them because the entire shift, they're doing nothing but asking a ton of questions.
Yeah.
Which is good. We want you to ask questions. But like when the radio's going off, we're on our way to a call, we're trying to figure things out,
quiet.
we're typing a report. Use some common sense. Use your social skills and figure out when an appropriate time to ask a question is and when it's not. That's the only time that ride-alongs aggravate me, is if it's just back-to-back question, I'm trying to get shit done, and I'm not able to do my job. So if the radio's going, you'll notice most cops stop talking because they're trying to listen. I'm sure you're already starting to get that that habit. So just pick your times, and feel out the officer. That's the other thing. You might have an officer who's just a dick, and you might not want to ask him any questions.
Hopefully that person isn't on the ride along list. But
no shit. But sometimes people get placed randomly with an officer on the road. So feel out the officer a little bit. Try to feel out whether you feel comfortable with asking them questions, whether they're open to questions, things like that.
Absolutely. But yeah, get into Explorer, get into ride-alongs if you can. There's no better way to kind of get yourself into it.
All right, here's a good question from Jesse J40. What are some of the tasks the FTO will pawn off on the rookie because they are tedious? That's a good question.
All right, so I wouldn't put the tedious thing in there because really, like, tedious is usually like fingerprinting type things. Like, that's tedious.
Or doing narratives.
Yeah. Okay, so absolutely this is funny because, like, it's not like pawning off, because when it's pawned off on you, it's like, you need to learn how to do this, so do it. And you can't be like, that's pawning off because you do, but at the same time, they always have that, like, go ahead and do this for it, like that smirk.
But it's for training purposes.
Yeah, exactly.
That's always the go-to.
Reports. Reports.
Troy's FTO got called that. Or called him out the other night.
No.
He got on the radio and he's like, can you let me into the building? And he got on the radio. He's like, negative, not until you find your card to get in. Dude, I guess he lost his card. I don't know.
That's fantastic.
But FTOs will mess with their rookies sometimes. And this guy that I'm talking about, he's actually been on the channel before. I'm going to have him on again.
That's good in the fun, though. If you have an FTO that is not having fun with you and, like, doing that type of stuff, they don't like you.
Yeah.
Like, I'm more than sure that stuff does not happen to people that they just don't like you.
And it kind of plays into hazing a little bit.
Yeah.
This guy that I'm talking about, the point I'm trying to get to is when he still worked, we both worked for the same agency starting out. And he recently came over, and I didn't know this story until recently, but he was an FTO over there, obviously. And so his first night with this new trainee, he shows up to briefing. And he stands by his chair. He meets his trainee.
Oh, he told me that.
And he stands by his chair and he just stares at it and he's like, pull out my chair for me. So the rookie has to get up from his side of the table, walk over, pulls out his FTO's chair just so he can sit down.
That's awesome.
So, yeah. They'll mess with you like that.
I've been lucky for sure, but I don't know. I know the person you're talking about. And
Yeah.
I've had a couple of run-ins. Love him. He's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's a good guy.
Fantastic.
He'll be on the show soon. All right, next question is from Paul Jameson on Facebook. What's the one thing that you think you'll carry on with you that you learned in the academy? That's a good question.
Oh, man. That's tough because, like, I could go with the cliche officer safety thing. The number one thing I feel like that was emphasized more than anything else when I was in the academy was don't let someone get your gun. Like, that was a huge... I feel like they said that more times than any other phrase in the academy. So if there's anything I'll probably take from the academy is how to shove a full-size Glock into your rib cage and just let it happen.
Yeah.
We did. You guys learned if you go to the academy, when someone tries to take your gun. I had two of the strongest guys in class, which outweighed me by about 50, 60 pounds. Both of them versus me. And they got the hand on my gun, and I was able to tuck it into my ribs and hold it and tuck it and fall on it. And those two guys could not get my gun. So I think if there's anything I will take from the academy, like 15 years down, is
weapon
how
retention.
To not let someone get my gun. I think that's a huge one. I'll never forget that ever.
And that's one thing a lot of FTOs will ask their trainees in like their first week or two is whenever you go to a call, how many weapons are present? And everybody's always like, well, I don't know. Like none, maybe? Say it's a shoplifting, the guy's unarmed. How many weapons are present? Oh, none. Well, no, that's wrong. Yours always counts.
Yep.
There's always one weapon on scene anywhere you go. Yep. So, and there's always somebody bigger and badder than you. So you need to learn how to keep that weapon safe.
Absolutely. I watched some females in the academy. I'm talking tiny females, and would have a whole bunch of guys try to take her gun. If you do it right, they can't get your gun.
Yeah.
If you tuck that thing right and you lay on it right and you keep flopping around, Hulk Hogan will not take a freaking gun from you.
They'll lift your body off the ground before
they will. They will lift you up and throw you down. But don't let them get your gun. Take the beating. Just don't let them get it.
Take the beat.
You just gotta take the beating.
Help me. Help me, 401.
10 help. 10 help.
That would be some shit a rookie would say. Like, I don't remember the 10 code for help.
Just 10 help.
10 help. Next question from Devin King. As a person wanting to become an officer, where should I start? How did you? What are some of the things I should prepare for? We already addressed that. What mindset should I use when looking for employment within a department? Also, thanks 401 for the great content. So let's break this down. As a person wanting to become an officer, where should somebody start? What is the first thing somebody should do? We kind of mentioned this already. I think it's ride-alongs.
Yeah, get involved.
Yeah.
You need to get involved in the brother/sisterhood. Get involved. Like, I'm not saying just like go talk to every officer you run into, but like we said before, explore program and/or ride-alongs. Get involved in it. Get your name put on a piece of paper that you're coming in for ride-along. That's absolutely the first thing you want to do if you want to get into it.
Next question from Dan. How much out-of-pocket expenses are involved as you graduate the academy? Is all your gear provided? So yeah, I mean, I can answer that. I mean, most of this stuff is paid for. Now, a lot of times if you start with a smaller department, there are some departments still, especially in Georgia. You don't find this a lot in like northern states or out west. But there are still some departments, as far as I know, up until like a few years ago even, where you actually had to buy some of your own equipment, which I think is ridiculous. But
absolutely,
a lot of smaller departments that don't have the budget to be able to provide you with a gun belt, you have to buy your own. Actually, you did buy some equipment.
Yeah, I actually got a lot of stuff because I was putting myself through the academy.
That's okay. You want to tell them about that too? The difference.
I was actually putting myself through the academy. You can do that in Georgia. I believe you can do it in California. I know, crazy. There's a similarity there. There's a couple states you can put yourself through the academy.
Not the only one.
Yeah, the department doesn't have to send you. So I actually got a bunch of stuff for Christmas from my parents, like a gun belt, mag holders, handcuffs. I got a bunch of stuff for Christmas. So most of the stuff on my belt is actually stuff that I have been given or I bought. And like I said, most departments will. I mean, I got all my stuff from my department, but you're still going to want to have the fancy baton or the fancy thing here and there. And yeah, you got to pay for that stuff. You're not going to get, the greatest pair of handcuffs on mankind. You're going to get a pair that's been used by like 4 other officers, which they still work, but
they have a little blood on them. But,
just brush it off. But no, it's your option. And if I told you how much I've spent since I've become an officer on stuff, it'd be a pretty decent number because I've bought a lot of stuff. But like you said, most departments you're going to get everything. It's just if you want to add on to that, it's completely your call.
Yeah, if you're putting yourself through the academy, it's always going to be much more expensive.
Yeah.
Now, the department covered you though, right? Because they picked you up.
Yes, I got picked up. Yeah, before.
Okay, so if you go into the academy and you put yourself completely through, estimated, this is just a very rough estimate, is going to be between $8,000 and $10,000.
That's getting through the academy,
and that's just getting through the academy.
Yeah, that's not.
However, if you are able, and that's not even including, that's lodging, food, everything.
Yeah.
So if you can find a department to sponsor you. They pay for your training, they pay for your travel, they give you a car, they pay for your lodging.
You get equipment.
The equipment.
Before the academy, so
and they're paying you to go.
Yep.
So if you can find a department that's willing to sponsor you to go to the academy, do that. And something that kind of branches off from that too, a lot of people just try to find a department that's willing to pay for them. And then as soon as you already know where I'm going with this.
Yeah, don't do that.
And as soon as they hit the road, they jump to another department. Don't do that. That is such a dick move to do. Try to give your department, I think a courteous amount of years would be 2.
In most departments, you have to sign a contract. Yeah. Actually,
people do this.
Yes, every single person I went to the academy with all had contracts. Every single person. And kind of like case law, there's a contract there because someone did it. Yep. And it still happens to this day. And it's actually funny you mentioned that. West Virginia, used to live in West Virginia, there also you can put yourself through the academy. There was actually a news article on this like last month about some really small, tiny place in West Virginia, like every other place in West Virginia.
I was about to say.
But that's a lot of money for a town to put an officer through if it's a small town, like 500 people. They sent this guy through. And then as soon as he didn't sign a contract, they just didn't have him do it. He got out of the academy and then left for one of the biggest cities in West Virginia. And like the sheriff had he went on the news station and was like, it really says something about someone's character. If you want to just
put him on blast?
Oh, dude, wow. Full blast.
Damn.
And they did a news article about it. And
it's like an everyday thing here.
Yeah, and like the sheriff of where he went ended up paying that small town back.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because they felt bad because that was like half their damn money that they had for the year. So don't be that guy. I get it. Like if you get put on like a shitty department, but like you said, 2 years, put in your time. Don't be that guy.
But that's part of doing your research too. If you applied for that department,
you better know about it.
Exactly. You better know about the department, but also do your time. Pay your dues to that department. They gave you the opportunity to send you to the academy, to take care of you, to take you under their wing, and then you're just gonna bail on them.
Yeah.
That's a shitty thing to do. That's really dirty.
Money speaks, but have some pride and integrity and just.
And there are some people that do it that have legitimate reasons, but most of the time it's just because they're unhappy with that department, or the one they really want to go to is not currently sending anybody to the academy, and that's just that's a dirty thing to do. Very, very much frowned upon in the law enforcement community.
Yeah, don't do that.
Last question. I'm kind of reading from a few here, and I'm just going to kind of make it into my own. So, for the people out there that are going or wanting to go into the academy, what were the hardest parts about the academy? We've already kind of discussed the physicality of it. Academically, what was the hardest between the tests, between firearms, and between the driving? What were the hardest parts of each of those?
All right, so I'll start with academics. I'm going to kind of branch off real quick before I get into those three. For me, one of the hardest things in the academy was not being home. I don't know if that's normal for a police academy. You're not home typically, right?
Yeah.
I know
unless you're single.
If you're lucky and you like have your police academy in your hometown, okay, you got lucky. Yeah. But if you have to go somewhere for the academy, not being home, dude, that sucks. It really, really sucks.
Especially those of you married with kids.
Mentally.
You have to have a lot of support from your spouse.
Dude, oh my god. Like, Amber had to support me a lot, so I couldn't imagine having kids. That would be insane.
Imagine if y'all had like 2 little ones running around at home and she was by herself.
Oh, that would be ridiculous. So not being home is incredibly hard. For academics, hardest... Never mind, I'm not gonna say it. I was gonna be like, well, for me, I got second academic and all the. For me, the hardest part of academics was staying true to it, I guess, because you study so much, and at some point you're just like, you know what? Give me a match. I'm lighting this all on fire. It is like you are gonna study so much. I ended the academy with over 2,000 flashcards. Still have them. They're
wow, really?
Over 2,000 flashcards.
Damn.
You will get to for me, it was about week 7 when it was like, all right, this is getting ridiculous. Like, you just get tired of going, okay, cool. Like, it gets real old for that. So keeping your mind on the end prize for academics was the hardest for me. Guns. I don't know, man. Honestly, the heat. I mean, that's...
Being out in the heat.
Dude, it was bad. It was really, really, really bad when you're doing the controlled course.
Especially Georgia heat.
Yeah, we have a controlled course you have to do. Basically, you shoot from 25, 15, 7, and 3, and you do it very, like, with everybody else. And you do it it's very formal. Like, you go up, you do what you got to do, you come back, you holster.
You don't make any move without being told by the instructor, or they will flunk you quick.
If you holster your gun before you're supposed to, that will be a failed round. That's just how it is. So trying to stay like doing what you're supposed to do as there's a waterfall going down your face, it sucked a lot because you get to that 3, which was the very last thing, and you just want to just be done and shoot every round. So for me, it was the heat and trying to stay focused on the actual course you're running, because you do forget. Like, I remember getting up to the line on one of the practice things, and what's that damn thing where you gotta like I don't remember. He says a phrase, and basically you have to get in a stance behind the barricade.
Yeah.
I don't remember what the phrase is called, but he said it once, and I was like, "Did he do that again?" Oh shit! I gotta go back to that. So staying focused on firearms was a hard thing for me.
Firearms are strict too because for obvious reasons, for safety. So if you have somebody like wiping sweat with their pistol like in their hand, like you'd be surprised. This is stuff that people do.
Dude, we had a guy in my academy that won a thing, and he went like this. We did a shooting contest, and he went, "Yeah!"
Oh my god,
dude! I've never heard the instructor get so mad. It was pretty.
My dad still shoots competitively, but back when him and my mom used to shoot. they actually had a guy from Border Patrol that they would go out and shoot with. It was like this big group of people. And this guy had to be banned from the range because he could not get it through his head that when he did good or did well, he would turn and sweep the entire crowd and say, "How did I do?"
Oh my.
Sweeping the instructor, all the other shooters.
Dude.
So that's the reason why the range is so strict. You have to be strict because all it takes is one mishap,
Yep.
and somebody could have a bullet in their head. So that's why they take that pretty seriously. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good.
So the driving.
You're driving. All right, so this is something I was told before driving, and I still just didn't. I was like, no, I'll be able to, no, just listen for a second. The hardest thing about EVOC is what we call it here in Georgia.
Emergency Vehicle Operations Course.
Boom. You do a cone course, a skid pad, and a brake course, okay? The hardest thing about those three is your mind. I'm not joking. If you overthink it and you psych yourself out, you are going to fail. I mean, that's straight up. And
Words of encouragement.
dude, I psyched myself out and I kept getting so freaking worried about this damn cone course. And when I got up there and I did it, I just blanked everything out and listened to the instructor. This is Georgia. I don't know how it's taught everywhere else. But if you just listen to what they tell you, you will pass. Skid pad, okay, I don't think anyone can fail a skid pad. It's a lot of fun. You literally just go around on water. It's nothing. The cone course, surprisingly for me, was one of the most fun ones that you could do. I was flying through the cone course. I had so much fun on it. The one that worried me more than anything was the brake course.
Really?
Yeah, I really didn't like. For
me, it was the cones.
Dude, I love the cones. I loved them, but for me with the brake course, like something about it, I was kept like getting really scared of it. What I was scared of before EVOC was the cone course. You actually get a video file, and you get to watch it like before you go there, and you sit in there and you're like, how is this guy doing this through all these cones? But at our EVOC, when you go there, you train so much, and the lieutenant is like, all right, go up to the fourth cone, put it in reverse, lock it, give it gas, you won't hit any cones. When you get that cone when the mirror gets that second cone, straight in.
Guys, you have to remember, these guys do this every single day of their lives.
So you gotta listen.
For years and years and years. They could do this blindfolded.
Yeah.
So when an instructor is teaching you how to drive and you're like, there's no way that's going to work, I guarantee you it's going to work.
Nope.
You have to trust what they're telling you.
We lost a
total... If you try to deviate from that, you're going to fail.
With our two classes, we lost a total of three people at EVOC.
Wow. Just at EVOC?
Yeah, just at EVOC.
Well, how many did you lose total? You lost quite a bit, dude.
We started with 36. I believe we graduated 23 or 24.
Wow.
The other class started at 35 or 34. They graduated with like 16.
Ooh.
Yeah, we dropped a lot. But EVOC, man.
What was the number one killer?
You know what? I think it was academics.
Was it?
Yeah, they lost 1 or 2 at firearms. We lost 0 at firearms. We lost 2 at EVOC. They lost 1 at EVOC. And then academics, man, it was almost like every week someone was dropping.
Yeah.
Every week. And then I think there was, out of my class, I think it was 2 or 3 for discipline. So
really?
Yeah.
Discipline. No shit.
Yeah. If you don't listen, you don't show up and have your face shaved, or don't have your handcuff key, or your notepad and stuff like that, like they've told you a million times, you get written up. And on your third, you get 3 write-ups in 11 weeks. On your third write-up, they tell you, go get your stuff. Go meet the captain in the office, you're going home.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That would suck.
We had a girl go home at the end of week 9.
Oh, wow.
For discipline.
What did she forget?
Her notepad and handcuff key.
Congratulations, you failed the police academy because you forgot your notepad.
I had inspection. Yeah, it was bad, man. I felt bad because she was really nice.
Recruit can't get right.
She was really nice, so it was like really shitty. But dude, it's.
I hope she doesn't see this video.
I feel really bad because like she was really nice and she knew what she was doing. But like week 9, dude, you should know this. Yeah. This is like, and the crazy thing is that she never asked. Well, I had extra handcuff keys, extra notepad, and never asked that she didn't have it.
Gotta pay attention to detail, folks.
Absolutely.
Gotta be squared away.
Yeah.
If you go to the police academy expecting to just sit there and do nothing all day and just sip coffee.
Gonna be a rude awakening.
I was just about to say, you are in for a very rude awakening. It's not the same as military boot camp, but it is paramilitary. So
there's still guidelines. Follow the guidelines. Do what they tell you. Don't second guess them. Don't question them either. Do any of those. Have fun.
Yeah.
I wish your 11 / whatever amount of weeks joyous time.
basically, you're all there eating the same shit sandwich.
Yep.
So just get through it, and you're good.
And probably your instructors have taught about 100 classes before you. So
Yeah.
you're no like exception, or you're nothing they haven't seen. So trust me. Well, maybe me because of YouTube.
Yeah. Well, anyway, guys, that is it for today. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Yummy. I appreciate you being here as always. Now that we are on the same, we're not on the same shift, but
that'd be bad.
Yeah, but we work the same days, just opposite. So he's on day shift, I'm on nights, and we're about to switch.
Yep.
So anyway, now that we're on a consistent schedule together, we will be putting out more videos and doing more live streams. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for sending in your questions. There was over 100 just within a few minutes of me putting that out, so I do appreciate the interaction from you guys. If I didn't get to your question, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to keep this video from being like 4 hours long. This is already going to be longer than any video I think I've ever put out. So anyway, guys, thank you very much for your interaction with us. We will see you soon, and have a great rest of your week.